Everyone, it's lovely to see you all and your pets. We're going to be doing more mindfulness exercises today. So there's going to be less of me talking, you'll be pleased to know, more doing the actual exercises. And today we're going to focus on really mindfulness of the body. So we're going to bring our attention to the body a lot more today. Before we start, has anyone been practicing at all? Yeah, great. Some hands up. Fantastic. And how are you getting on with that?
I think it's still difficult to do. I think I don't know about anybody else, but with the kind of daily distractions around, and I know we discussed, it might have been the last session, about how actually practicing with a bit of chaos around you is a really good thing to do because it really gets you focused, but it's really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really right, Rebecca. Like to practice when we've got chaos around us is a much better way to practice mindfulness because obviously we don't live in these, well, most of us don't live in these nice little quiet retreats. So remembering that we are going to be distracted and that's okay, but just bringing your attention back to whatever you're focusing on. So I'm really glad to hear that you've been practicing. So we're going to move on because I'm conscious of the time. Just to recap again, for anyone who hasn't joined us before, or just to remind ourselves that mindfulness isn't relaxation. So we do sometimes feel relaxed when we do it, but that's not the goal, that's not the aim. Sometimes we may bring up uncomfortable thoughts or sensations, and that might happen today when we connect with our bodies. And it also, we're going to talk next week about connecting with thoughts and emotions and doing mindfulness of thoughts and emotions. You won't be able to do it perfectly, so your mind will wander. It is that untrained puppy. It is going to run about all over the place because we've not trained it to sit still yet. And it is helpful to practice daily. As we've mentioned before, if you've experienced trauma or you have something like post traumatic stress disorder, you can do mindfulness, but it needs to be done in a slightly different way. And the best way to do it is to find a professional with some experience in mindfulness and trauma to help you to learn how to do it. If you know that that applies to you today, just sit the exercises out. So don't join in with them. Just watch us do them. Just a little health warning about doing exercises involved with the body as well is that if we know that we have a very difficult relationship with a certain part of our body, possibly because we've experienced trauma there, then when we come to do some of the exercises, maybe just miss that part of the body out. Now, if you were learning trauma sensitive mindfulness, you would work through that, but for today, don't go there basically. And I'll remind you of that as we come up to some of the other exercises. So to just go through the pillars of mindfulness. So these are what mindfulness is all about. Again, this is kind of a recap of what we've already talked about. So mindfulness, when we practice mindfulness, we adopt a non-judgmental attitude. So we're not getting caught up in oops, not what I wanted to do. So we're not getting caught up in our ideas and opinions and likes and dislikes. We're not judging the experience. We're also fostering an attitude of patience. So this understanding and acceptance that sometimes things must unfold in their own time. And I think we've all been practicing patience for the last year, haven't we? That actually we want things to be different and they're not right now. We're also getting into the idea of being in beginner's mind. So this is like the child, it's like the alien coming down from outer space. It's seeing things with fresh eyes, with a clear and uncluttered mind, with an open mind. And it's also about being willing to make mistakes. You're not going to get this right. It's not going to be perfect. Mindfulness is also about trust, so it's about trusting your intuition and your own authority. And it's as we develop our mindfulness practice and we begin to be more mindful with our bodies, with our thoughts, with our emotions, we bring forth that kind of self-trust. It's also about fostering an attitude of non-striving. So it's not about being achievement orientated or goal orientated. It's about being. So we talked a little bit last time about doing versus being. And really mindfulness is about trying less, but being physically being, emotionally being, spiritually being, cognitively being more. As we said, it's about acceptance, so coming to terms with the way things are without trying to change it in any way, and letting go, so letting our experience just be what it is without falling into desire or aversion, so just being with what's there. So we're going to do a quick mindfulness of the breath. So if you just want to get yourselves comfortable, and if you're happy to close your eyes, just close your eyes. If you'd rather leave your eyes open, that's absolutely fine, but just keep them fixed on a point, either on the wall in front of you or the floor in front of you, so you're not distracted. So just allow yourself to just relax into the chair. Then as you connect with your body, as you let yourself relax into the chair, if you need to make any movements to feel more comfortable, do that. And just become aware of the chair supporting you, the ground supporting your feet. And now just bring your attention to your breath. So you might want to pay attention to your chest or abdomen as it rises and falls with each in and out breath. Or you might want to bring your attention to your nose or your mouth where the breath enters and leaves the body. Keeping your attention on the breath at the moment without needing to change it. So it doesn't matter whether you're breathing fast, whether you're breathing slowly, whether the breath's deep or shallow. Just notice the quality of the breath, but doing this without judgment, without trying to change. And if your mind wanders off, which it will do, just gently guide it back to the breath and use the breath as an anchor to the present. So just noticing the sensations of breathing. Can you notice where the breath goes into your body, where it leaves the body? Where do you feel the strongest sensation of the breath? In your chest, at the tip of your nose, just noticing the speed of your breath. What's that like right now? Not getting caught up with trying to change it or judge it. Just noticing whether you're breathing smoothly or irregularly. And just following the movement of your breath throughout your body. So just expanding your awareness to the rest of your body now. Maybe just move around in your seat, wiggle your fingers and toes a little bit. Just bring your attention to any sounds you can hear around you in the room or outside. And when you're ready, just open your eyes, have a look around where you are, refamiliarize yourself with your environment. And when you're ready, just bring your attention back to the screen. So how was that for everyone? Any comments? You're welcome to unmute yourselves, or you can type into chat. Okay, all very quiet now. Have you all gone to sleep? I can see you moving, so you're still there. I can't actually get chat up. So if anyone is typing into chat, if somebody can, Rebecca or Shannon, if you can just tell me what anyone says.
A lady said it was tricky not to get distracted.
Yeah,
Somebody actually thinks they're getting better.
great, good.
And someone thought that they find that taking a deep breath was good to bring them back to their breathing.
Brilliant, great. So you're finding these ways of keeping your attention on the breath, and mindfulness is a very personal practice, so it's finding things that work for you. You are going to get distracted, and it doesn't matter how long you've been practicing mindfulness for, there will be still times when you do it when you get distracted. So some days, you know, you'll be able to practice it for ages, and then other days your mind will just be flitting all over the place, and that just is how it is. But obviously with practice, we do practice that skill, so we are going to improve over time. Right, so we're just going to move on. So mindfulness in the body. So we're often very disconnected from our bodies. So particularly if we don't do a lot of physical work or physical exercises, if we spend a lot of time in front of screens or sitting down during our working day, we can become very disconnected from our bodies, and we don't necessarily notice sensations in our bodies until we experience an unpleasant sensation such as pain or fatigue, discomfort. So when we bring our awareness to the body, when we foster our awareness and the relationship with our body, it helps us to look after our physical health and also our mental well-being as well. So our body acts as a source of information for us. So we've all heard of the phrase gut feelings. And this is the body doing what it's supposed to do. It picks up information, and it gives us information about the surroundings around us. And often we ignore these things, don't we, because we're told to kind of think from our head. But actually what we know about the body now is that there's neurons in the gut, in the liver, in the heart that actually help us to process information in the same way that the brain does, particularly emotional information. So the body helps us to identify and manage our emotions. So having a good relationship with our body is generally helpful for our well-being. We can often get into wanting or avoiding certain sensations in the body. So as human beings, we want to cling on to things that we like. We want to hold on to things that are pleasurable. So if I'm having a foot massage, for example, I really like it. I don't want it to stop. I want it to keep going. And also, I don't want to experience pain. So I'm going to try and avoid any unpleasant sensations. And this act of trying to avoid, of trying to change things, can lead to secondary suffering. Now, we talked a little bit last time about primary and secondary suffering. So primary suffering is the experience itself. So we all experience suffering in our lives. So that might be a physical injury, it might be a bereavement, it might be stress caused by our environment. So we all experience this primary suffering. And we can't change that, you know, we can't change those experiences, they happen to us. But what we can change, what we can work with, is the secondary suffering, which is the thoughts, the beliefs, the emotional reactions we have to these events. And so mindfulness can help reduce that secondary suffering for us. So we can't change the primary suffering, but we can change the way that we react, and mindfulness helps with that. So research has shown that mindfulness can be really helpful in managing physical illness. So and also chronic pain. Now, I've worked for many years with people with chronic life-changing illnesses and injuries, terminal illness and chronic pain, and mindfulness practice is really, really helpful for people to cope with these things. We may have difficult relationships with our bodies, so that might be because of illness or injury, but it also can be because we become critical or judgmental about our bodies, and often this is fueled by images in the media. So for most of us, if you ask us, whether we like our bodies or not, the majority of us, men and women, will say that they don't, or they have little bits of their bodies that they don't like. So this is really obviously unhelpful to have a difficult relationship with our body. So mindfulness can help us to develop a more healthy relationship with our body. So when we become mindful of the body, we become aware of each moment by moment sensation. So we don't get stuck in the thoughts about how we're feeling or how we're judging our body or wanting to change things, but we just become aware of the moment by moment sensations, just like you've been doing with the breath there. When we stop trying to get rid of difficult sensations, we shift from feeling powerless and stuck to just having a relationship with the body. So then we can notice these changes from moment to moment. So we can let go of that energy that it takes trying to change something we can't change or avoid something we can't avoid. So if you think about pain, for example, when we are experiencing pain, we often brace. We often try and avoid it by bracing, and then we develop more physical pain. It takes a lot of mental, emotional energy to avoid a sensation. Whereas if we can relax into that, if we can breathe into it, we can let go of some of that energy trying to avoid something. And this, as I say, is really helpful in managing difficult sensations in the body. And we can also become more open to noticing other sensations that might be nice. So when we get fixed on one sensation, trying to avoid a sensation, whether that's pain or discomfort, tension, we might miss other sensations because we're too busy caught up with our focus on that one thing. And also, we tend to not notice those nice sensations. So we tend to not notice the nice sensations as much because we're so disconnected with our body. So actually bringing that connection back to our body, we can experience these nice sensations a lot more. So we're going to do a posture meditation just now. Now, in this meditation, what it actually does is it helps activate innate postural reflexes. And so it can help relieve unnecessary tension on joints and muscles. Now, I'm going to talk you through some movements, but I don't want you to actually do the movements. I just want you to imagine the movements in your head. So just think about doing them rather than doing them. So if you want to get yourselves comfortable, now you can either do this with your eyes closed again or with your eyes open. So if you want to close your eyes, just close your eyes now. And if you want to leave your eyes open, just let them drop either to the floor or just fix them on a point in the wall in front of you. So just notice how you're sitting right now without changing anything, without trying to adjust your posture. Just notice the posture in your body. Whether you're sitting up straight, whether you're slouched. Again, not making any judgments, just noticing. And then just notice the support of the ground underneath your feet. And notice the chair supporting your weight. And now becoming aware of any areas of tension, but without trying to change them. So you might notice tension in your shoulders and your buttocks, your stomach. Just noticing, not changing. Now, if you're not already sitting with your feet flat on the floor, and you can, just put your feet flat on the floor and allow your arms just to rest comfortably wherever it feels right for them. And just think about sitting with your shoulders directly balanced on top of your hips, not leaning to one side or the other. So not changing this, but just think about sitting like that. And now imagine that there's a string from the top of your head, from the crown of your head going upwards. Just imagine that it's pulling you upwards. And just think about your chin dropping down, but not shortening your neck. And just notice any tension in your neck. Now just think about your back lengthening. And bring your awareness to your back. And just imagine your shoulders rolling back and down. And then just bring your awareness to your shoulders. So bringing your attention to your breathing now. And each time you breathe in, just think about lengthening from the top of your head, with your chin dropping, with your back and neck lengthened. And as you breathe out, just think about your shoulders moving back and down. So breathing in, lengthening, breathing out, shoulders back and down. And just notice how your body feels right now. So bringing your awareness now to the outside of your body again by noticing any sounds you can hear around you. Any noises in the room or outside, and when you're ready, just open your eyes again. Have a look around the room, and when you feel ready, just bring your attention back to the screen. Right. How did everyone get on with that?
It was hard not to sort of move your body, as you were saying. Don't just think about it. Don't move. And it's like, well, I want to move now.
Yeah. So we find when we do that we kind of naturally start moving, even unconsciously. We're kind of moving because we're thinking about it. Yeah.
Someone said that it made them feel a bit sleepy. I think I was the same.
Sleepy. Yeah. So remember we talked about sleepiness as being one of the aversions last week. So it could be that you're just really tired and you need a good night's sleep and a good rest. But it can also be a way of that we kind of shut down from the mindfulness. So making sure that we're doing our mindfulness sitting up in a well-ventilated room can help with the sleepiness. But it can also just mean that we're tired. Need a good rest. Any other comments before we move on?
I had a similar experience with the wanting to move. Like it almost became unbearable, like the desire to like move. It was almost like my whole body was like itching to like stretch or like move, like my shoulders back.
Yeah, oh, really well noticed. And that, again, that's one of the aversions, isn't it? That desire for something to be different. I really want to move now. And so just breathing into that, just accepting it and kind of almost observing that desire from a kind of a step back from it, to like, oh, I notice that I really want to move here, can be really helpful in working with that desire. But yeah, it's really common, really common. Okay, so thanks everyone. Let's move on. So we're just going to talk a little bit about mindfulness and whole body breathing. So when we pay attention to our breath and how it feels in our body, obviously we're practicing mindfulness, we're practicing present awareness, that's great. But it also changes the way we breathe often. So our breathing, without even trying, a bit like what we just tried now, we're not trying to move, but our body's changing anyway. So without trying, our breathing naturally becomes deeper and more rhythmic when we pay attention to it. So that might not be straight away. So quite often when we first pay attention to our breath, we find it goes shallower and faster, because we can often develop a bit of anxiety about what it should be like. But as we get practiced in our mindfulness of the breath, it naturally becomes deeper and more rhythmic. So we start to use the back of the lungs and the rib cage more in our breath, and we actually notice that our whole back moves when we're breathing like this. So this whole body breathing massages our internal organs. So it's really healthy for us, and it's a naturally calming process. So what it does is it stimulates our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the way that our body calms us down, and it then releases hormones that reduce stress and tension and promote healing. So things like the body's natural opiates, things like oxytocin, which is the feel-good, cuddly hormone. So this promotes feelings of peacefulness and relaxation, and it sets up a really healthy cycle within the body, because when we feel more peaceful, when we feel more relaxed, we actually encourage more whole body breathing. So we get this wonderful feedback loop where we just become more relaxed and more at peace. So that's one of the advantages of focusing on the breath, being able to, without trying to change it, we paradoxically do change it. So we're going to do a little mindfulness exercise now where we're going to focus on our hands. So get yourselves comfortable again. And you can close your eyes again if you want, or if not, just drop them to the floor or fix them on a point. But without looking at your hands, just bring your attention to your hands right now, in whatever position they are at this present moment. So just bring your awareness down to your hands. And just allow your awareness to really explore your hands. So from the very inside of your hands, from the bones, to all the tendons, the ligaments, the flesh on the hands, the skin. Just bring your awareness of your hands. And just become open to experiencing any sensations that you might notice. So any sensations in the fingertips. There might be tingling, might be some pain or discomfort. There might be an absence of sensation and numbness. Noticing any sensations in the fingers. Noticing the air between the fingers. Sensations of the back of the hands. Maybe sensations of temperature. Hands might feel cold. They might feel hot and sweaty. Noticing sensations in the palms, and the thumbs, and the wrists. And then just bringing your attention to your sensation of touch. So noticing what your hands are resting on at the moment. Noticing those sensations. So what can you feel with your hands right now? They're resting in your lap. Can you feel some warmth there? Can you feel the texture of clothing? Or maybe they're on the chair or the desk. Does what they're resting on feel smooth or rough? Is it soft or hard? And then just move your hands to the chair which you're sitting on and just gently touch the sides of the chair with your fingertips. Just keeping awareness on what you can feel as you do that. And then just grip the sides of the chair. So apply some pressure to the sides of the chair. And just pay attention to the physical sensations in your hands, but also in your arms and the rest of your body. So noticing the pressure on your fingertips, the muscles in your hand, what that feels like to be holding onto the chair. And if you notice any emotions coming up or any thoughts coming up, just observe them and then bring your attention back to what you can feel. So just ease off gripping now, release your grip, and notice any changes in your hands or the rest of your body. Any different sensations. So just begin to expand your awareness to the rest of your body now. And again, expand your awareness outside the body, listening to what you can hear around you. And when you're ready, just open your eyes, have a look around. Bring your attention back to the screen and the group when you're ready. So what were people's experience with that exercise? How was that?
I think for me, when we were discussing the tendons and stuff, I felt a wee bit queasy.
So did you have an image there, Shannon? Did you get like an image in your head? Yeah.
Kind of like blood. That's weird.
And were you able to just let go of that and then focus back on the sensations?
Yeah, I kind of did it on purpose, let go on purpose. Yeah.
Good. So it's really easy for us to get a powerful thought or image come up when we're doing these exercises. But again, it's just bringing your awareness back to whatever you're focusing on. Any other experiences?
I thought it was easier to focus on my hands rather than my just, the previous one about breathing. My mind was going all over the place, whereas this one I was kind of focusing on my hands. I was less, going places, if you like.
Yeah. So I think sometimes if we find it really hard to focus on something more passive like the breathing, doing a more active meditation, so doing a movement meditation. So we'll talk about walking meditation, and also the movement meditation we did last time is a lot easier to keep our focus because we're more used to keeping our focus on things that are active. And I think it's about finding mindfulness practices that work for you. So, finding, this is why we're doing loads of different ones. So find the ones that work for you and then practice those ones.
There's a comment also, Caroline, that someone could feel a pulse on their hands.
Yeah. So when we start noticing our hands, we start noticing things that we don't really notice. So that pulse is always there, but we don't pay attention to it. So I noticed when I was doing that my hands are really cold, and now I'm like, oh, I want some gloves now. But yeah, we kind of bring our attention to sensations that we just don't notice most of the time. So it's really normal to have these sudden weird sensations of maybe my hands are tingling or they feel really tense and I didn't realise. Okay. Any other comments before we move on? Okay. So it's been really lovely. Everyone's really engaged and commenting today. It's great. So we're going to do an expanded mindfulness now. So this is called the body scan. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Go back. So this is called the body scan. So this is expanding our awareness from not just the hands, but to include the whole of the body. So as we talked about before, if you know that you have some difficulties with certain areas of your body, so if you know that you've got a particularly painful shoulder, for example, or if you've had some trauma to an area of the body, either sit this one out completely or just miss that area out. As we said, if you were working individually, we would work on bringing our awareness to that body, but in a slightly different way. So if you do need to sit this one out, just look after yourselves. Okay. So this is another exercise that you can either do with your eyes open or you can do them with your eyes closed. It's often easier to focus with our eyes closed, but if you don't feel comfortable doing that, just keep your eyes open and fix them on a point either on the floor or in front of you. So we're going to bring our attention to the whole of the body this time, so it's going to be a little bit longer. So just get yourselves comfy and close your eyes if you want to close your eyes. And to start off, just bring your attention to your breath again. So again, noticing the breath either in the chest or abdomen, or noticing it at the nose or mouth as the breath enters and leaves the body. Wherever you notice the breath most at the moment. So remembering you're not trying to change any of the sensations, we're not judging any of the sensations we come across. We're just exploring them with a gentle curiosity. We're just wondering what's there right now. With each out breath, we can invite the body just to settle into the chair a little bit more. So just to release any tension that isn't needed, but it's okay if that tension stays there. We don't need to get into a battle with it. We're just giving the body an invitation to allow itself to be supported by the chair and by the ground right now. So just expand your awareness to the whole of your body now. Just noticing how the whole of your body feels. Is there any tension, any tiredness, any areas of relaxation? Just allowing yourself to feel all that's there right now, without wishing it to be different, without wishing for more relaxation. Just being aware of what is. And if your mind starts wandering off, just gently bring it back to the body. So bringing your awareness now to your feet on the floor. And just notice the contact you can feel with the floor right now. Or with whatever your feet are on if they're not on the floor. What sensations do you notice in your feet? Are there any sensations of warmth or coolness, tingling? Can you feel your socks or shoes? Can you notice how much contact you're making with the floor? Is it even in both feet, or is there more pressure on one than the other? How present are you in that contact with the floor? Do you feel like you're grounded? Or do you feel like you're floating a little way off the floor today? And then just bringing your attention to your legs. Just moving your attention upwards from the feet, through your calves and shins, to your knees. Maybe noticing some stiffness or pain or discomfort, without getting caught up in trying to change that, but just being aware of what is. Noticing how your clothes feel against your skin. And bringing your awareness up through your thighs, and you notice where your sitting bones are making contact on the chair. The pressure on your legs, you can feel the chair underneath you. And it's totally fine if you don't feel anything, if there's just a sense of numbness or an absence of sensation, that's okay. We're just becoming aware of what is. So bringing your attention up now to your lower back. So we tend to hold a lot of tension in our lower back, so you might notice that. And then bringing your attention to your middle back. Noticing the movement of your rib cage with each breath. And bringing your attention up to your upper back now. And your shoulders. Noticing if they're rolled forward or dropped back, again without trying to change it. Noticing whereabouts your back and shoulders are supported by the chair and where they're not. So if your attention's been hijacked by thoughts or images or noises, just notice where your mind's wandered off to. And with kindness and patience for yourself, just gently bring it back to your body. Bringing your attention back to the back, your shoulders. And then moving your attention to the sides of your body. Maybe again become aware of the movement of your rib cage with each breath. The sensation of clothes against your skin. Do they feel comfortable or a bit tight? Without making a judgment or without trying to change them. but just noticing those sensations there. And bringing your attention now to the front of your torso, to your lap and to your stomach, your abdomen. Maybe notice how your abdomen and your belly contract and expand with each in and out breath. Again, noticing the sensation of clothes. Noticing whether your muscles are tight, whether you're holding yourself, or whether you're relaxed. Your belly feels loose and heavy. Perhaps noticing internal sensations in your belly, any sensations of digestion or hunger, your stomach rumbling, or even a sensation of butterflies in your stomach. So bringing your attention now up to the chest and just noticing whether you feel hunched over or whether your chest feels expanded. And again, bringing your attention to your breathing. No need to change anything, just notice how you're breathing right now. Maybe noticing the sensations of your heart. Can you feel your heart beating? Can you feel any flutters? And then bring your attention down through the arms to the hands and the fingers. Noticing any sensations of tension, discomfort or relaxation, warmth, heaviness. Noticing sensation in the elbows, the forearms, your wrists. Bringing your attention to your hands again. What do they feel like now? And becoming aware again of what the hands are resting on. What can you feel underneath your fingers? And now bringing your attention upwards, up the arms again, through the shoulders. And let your attention rest on your neck, your throat area. Maybe noticing the sensation of clothes or your hair on your neck. And then becoming aware of sensations in the back of your head, in the scalp area, in your skull, in the crown of your head. Noticing any sensations of tension or a headache. And then bring your attention to your forehead. Just noticing whether it's relaxed or wrinkled, tense. And then bringing your attention down to your ears. What can you feel in your ears? Can you feel your hair? Feel a slight breeze? You feel any tension? And then bring your attention to the area around your eyes, your eyebrows, the muscles around your eyes, and your eyes themselves. They feel relaxed, they feel heavy, they feel twitchy. Then bringing your attention to your nose and your nostrils. Again, maybe being aware of how the breath enters and leaves your nose. And then moving your attention down to your face, to your lips, your mouth, your chin, your jaw. Just noticing whether you're holding any tension in your jaw, again without trying to release it, but just noticing what's there. And then just expand your attention to hold the entire body in your awareness. So from the top of your head right down to your feet. And just become aware of the breath moving through your body. So flowing freely in and out of your body with each in and out breath. And just allowing yourself to feel that rhythmic movement of the breath in the body. So when you're ready, just expanding your awareness outside the body by listening to sounds you can hear around you. Sounds in the room, sounds outside the room. Maybe have a move around. Just notice where your body is touching the chair, feet are touching the floor. And then when you're ready, start opening your eyes, have a look around you. Maybe have a little stretch if that feels good. And just bring your attention back to the screen when you feel ready. So we've got a little bit of time left, very quickly. Was there any comments about that? How did you find it? Is everyone back? No one's asleep.
Found it incredibly hard to stay focused on what I was supposed to be focused on.
Sorry, Graham, I didn't hear any of that.
So I found it incredibly hard to stay focused on what I was supposed to be focusing on.
Yeah. And we did that quite quickly as well. So you can spend a lot more time focusing. That helps. And again, it's just practice, that sometimes we need a bit more practice to focus. But even with practice, sometimes, some days, it's just our mind's all over the place. Thank you.
I'm not sure that being at work is the best place to be doing this either.
No, maybe not. Maybe have a practice at home. Yeah. Because I think as well, when we're doing something like mindfulness, when we're in a place where we're going to be interrupted a lot, we do almost keep an ear out. We have a sense kind of outside of our bodies, kind of managing that boundary. So although it's helpful to practice where we are practicing our everyday activities, so there's that there. And then we've also got in the slides a walking meditation. So again, this is an everyday mindfulness that you can practice whenever you go for a walk, so wherever you are. So there's those two there. And then we've got the same slides with the resources and everything on there for you. So you will be getting a copy of the slides, and there's also handouts of the exercises that we've done today. Is there any questions or comments before we finish? Okay, well, it was lovely to see you all. I'm glad that you've been practicing in between sessions. It was lovely to see the pets as well. It's made my day seeing everybody's pets. And so next week, what we're going to be focusing on is mindfulness of thoughts and emotions. You don't need to bring any food unless you just want a snack, and then you're welcome to bring whatever you want.